Greetings, Bath Warriors. Greetings. Greg is back. Welcome to another live stream here. Felt pretty encouraged the other night. All the positive comments from beautiful people like you reaching out. Let me know that you enjoy hearing me share a message. Talk about the ups and downs of life. I'm telling you. I heard this today from somebody that I really look up to. And they were talking about how this year, 2025, has been one of the most challenging years of their life. Good evening, my brother. It's great to have you here, as always. So it got me thinking, how has 2025, this year of the snake, the shedding of the skin, we think that, it's just going to be so smooth. I'm just going to let all this stuff go and my life's just going to transform itself. Wow. That's a process. It's kind of interesting. I've watched some videos about with snakes, and they're doing their shedding. It's like, it's like an itchy thing. They're like rolling around. It doesn't just wash right off smooth. It's not smooth. It's never been a smooth process. And so I'm curious to how most people are doing in 2025. If you look at this year so far, and we're this close. We're down to the sprint. This is the sprint. You know what they call October, November, and December, right? Not what you call it. You call it, the holidays from basically Halloween on. The holiday seasons, no. That's not what winners call October, November, and December. It's the separation season. Why? Because guess what? Most people, this is the time that you start easing up, taking your foot off the gas, or you're just trying to find which way's up. Can't even believe that it's almost the end of a whole nother year. Kind of a blur, right? Where did it all go? How did it get away from me so fast? And yet, if you're living an intentional life, speed is the same. However, when you keep receipts daily through journaling and you really live a life with intention, you're really practicing, mastering, becoming the best version of yourself, then right now, this is the time. If you haven't thought about it, but you've just been kind of doing your routine, going about doing your thing, right now is when you need to put your foot on the accelerator. You need to double down, triple down, quadruple down on whatever you've been doing. And if you haven't been doing it, guess what? It's not too late. Because I'm a firm believer is how you finish something is how you start the next. And that's could be how you finish a day, right? How you finish the week, how you finish the month, certainly how you finish a year, and definitely how you finish seasons. How you finish is how you start. So if you're somebody that's just like, you've already been cruising, you're already just caught up, maybe now is the time. Maybe this is what you need to hear for you to really put some focus and some energy on accomplishing something before it's over. Knowing that whatever you do between now and December 31st is going to be how you start January 1st through 2026, which I'm very excited for. All right, I'm very excited for 2026. Right. And so when I look back on this year, extremely challenging. a lot of life, a lot of death, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of hauling ass, a lot of crawling, some climbing, some walking, some rest, some deep, 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 deep reflections, some real honest assessments, some soul searching analysis to really even go farther along this path that I've been on for going on 14 years. 14 years since I hit that rock bottom, which is what I needed to start making some massive decisions of change about my life, to change my direction. And maybe that's what you need. Maybe you've already had that, but maybe you're still stubborn. Maybe you're still stuck. Maybe you're still just thinking, strategizing, wishing, waiting, wanting something to happen, versus knowing there's something inside of you that can make shit happen. Right? You can make it happen. You can take action, but you're afraid. I used to be afraid. Right? It's that thought of, what's someone else gonna think if I do this thing that I've been thinking about doing? You ever think about that? You ever think like that? You ever put a little bit too much thought and attention into thinking about what other people might think about what you are doing? I had that revelation. I remember having that revelation when I started going back to the gym. And that's not that long ago. I went back to the gym back in like 2016 after letting myself go for probably about 5 years. Right? I got all caught up in this thing called higher education, and I finished up 3 college degrees in my 30s. And I let my physical health go. I was sober though. I was getting mentally sharp, was going to therapy. And then what was really cool is, at the time, I was running what was called a Veterans Resource Center out at a community college here in northern New Mexico. And I love how contagious things are. Laziness can be contagious. And also, the equal and opposite of that, which is being highly active, being healthy, can also be contagious. Negativity is contagious, but so is positivity. And I remember at the time, I was surrounded by a lot of veterans, all types of military vets. And I don't remember who came up with the idea, but there's a thing that happens here in the spring in New Mexico, in the southern part of New Mexico, that's called the Baton Death March. It's a marathon ruck, which is a hike with, I think it was a 35-pound pack through the deserts of New Mexico, 26.2 miles, full marathon. And maybe it didn't sound like a lot at the time, especially for a guy that likes to hike, 10 hours. I like doing 10-hour hikes, 4,000 feet elevation gains. And yet we decided to start training as a team to go and do this thing called the Baton Death March. And what was really cool is, if you were able to see the organization, which was about 20 veterans, before someone came up with the idea for us to collectively participate in the Baton Death March, and then after, before, everybody was kind of lazy. Everybody was just sitting around shooting the shit. playing video games, talking, blah, 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 just, you know, burning time in between classes, after class, before class. And once this idea happened, it was like a massive shift where we all started going on hikes. We started training. We started working out together. And it was like almost instantly, the whole entire group, like it became contagious where everybody wanted to be a part of that. Before, no one was working out. But then someone got the idea and we all started buying in little by little, right? A handful of people at a time. Before you know it, everyone's working out. Everyone's going on hikes. It became this reinvigoration of our purpose. We felt purpose driven out there together, almost like a unit back in active duty, out there hiking in the mountains and training for this evolution. And we thought we did enough training leading up, probably like 5 months of training to get ready for the Baton Death March. The long story made short is that when the Baton Death March actually came, there was 5 of us that showed up. There was 20 people that were training, but only 5 actually showed up to do the march. And man, oh man, it was a death march, to say the least. But we all finished. I think the longest time was maybe 11 hours. It's a hell of a hike. Oof. It's funny too, because you have 35 pounds and along the whole entire route of this 26.2 mile march in the deserts of New Mexico, a big part of the program is they want you to use like food donations, whether it's canned goods or rice or beans, to donate as like a food collection for the 35 pounds that you carry. And the funny thing is as you're hiking, the farther you get, 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, you just start seeing more and more bags and cans of food just thrown all over this, hellish hike. No doubt about it. Good memories. And I think about that story because how many of us are just waiting for something to shift, for something to change. And in that situation, it did. It took one person. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was me and another person to really kickstart the idea of saying, hey, you know what? There's something else that we can do with our time here. Maybe just shooting the shit, playing video games all day in between classes, right? We were obviously doing something towards a goal, which was going to school as adults, going back to school, really. But yet we saw that there was still opportunity. So I ask you, what is the opportunity right now that you're missing? I know for me, depends on when you're watching this, but here in the States, simultaneously, right, being broadcast right now is, one of our top religious activities, which is watching, right, pigskin, the football flying through the air. Right? It's a religious activity. Got to watch that. And yet, what do we get? What's the return? What's the return on the investment? Right? And there's no shame. There's no shame here. There's never shame here. If you ever feel shame, I'll preface this. If you've ever felt shame by something I've said, it's not because what I'm saying is intended to shame you. It's because the shame already exists inside of you. I'm just shining the light, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm just shining the light. There's the light. And guess what? It's illuminating, right? Some of the insecure parts of who you are, right? And yet, one thing that I've really worked on in this recent season right? Started with like the summer, right? The summer at the mid May. Yeah, mid May. Literally simultaneously. Mid May, I remember it was like May 16th. I had to put my best friend down to rest. And that was a really painful thing I had to do. And my best friend, I'm talking about my dog. And what's crazy is the very next day my daughter graduates from high school. And that's just like, that alone has been, that right there is like a snapshot of how the past May, June, July, August, September, fuck, now we're in October. We're going on 6 months. The past 6 months has just been that, me, and I preach this, that's why I'm being tested. I preach this, is to be the scale. Can you be balanced? Can you allow for any and all things to exist, for equal and opposite things? For the worst case scenario in your life, can you sit there with your biggest fear mentally, just fearing something? And then can you also hold the most incredible thing that you could dream of, simultaneously existing and trying to find yourself in the middle, being balanced, being centered, being grounded, being rooted? And that doesn't mean to be suppressed emotionally, to feel the feelings, to feel the depths of the loss, and to feel the highs of the celebration of a win. Can you allow yourself to be that fluid? See, most of us, we want to artificially create the highs. I need to stay high, more high. And it's like, we are so allergic to the lows. And why? Of course, right? The lows is our feelings, and many of us have been programmed to say there's something wrong, right? If you're anything like me, as a little boy growing up, guess what? If I showed feelings, come here. You want to cry? I will give you a reason to cry. Come here. And then you get your ass kicked. You get your ass beat. And then you're crying even more. But before you showed the emotions, you were crying because someone teased you at school, or someone didn't tell you that they loved you, or you didn't, whatever it is. Could be anything, but regardless, you were taught to suppress. And another part of that type of interactions is you're also being told that how you feel is not okay. So you have to literally start to abandon yourself. Did you do this as a kid? Did you have to abandon yourself as a child? Did you ever have to abandon how you felt for someone else to be happy, for someone else to not be irritated, for someone else to not be upset or overwhelmed? But as a child, you were just trying to show, connect, right? It was really about connection, right? When we express our feelings, it's an outpouring of what we're experiencing. But the reason why I think it's expressive and why it's externalized, our feelings, is because we're trying to connect. We're trying to be seen. We're trying to be heard. We're hoping that someone else understands us and can accept us and not make us feel like something's wrong. But most of us, that's exactly what happened. And these are tough conversations. That's why a lot of people hop in and hop out of here, because they're like, man, I don't know. I gotta watch this game. I gotta watch these dudes. I'm gonna watch these dudes. I gotta get my pom-poms and play cheerleader. I should get pom-poms. I need pom-poms. Someone send me pom-poms. I need some pom poms so I can pretend to be a cheerleader sometimes, like, right? And the cool thing is I've learned how to be a cheerleader. I've learned how to be my biggest cheerleader, right? And I've learned how to be the biggest cheerleader for people around me. But ultimately, it's like, man, the more that I'm cheering for myself, the more that I'm loving myself, the more that I can truly accept myself, can care for myself, but care so much that I don't leave myself as the way I am, because I can have an honest, clear, real raw vision of myself. And I know where I need to improve. I know at the depths of who I am where I can improve. And guess what? The measure's this big, right? You only need to have a heart and a willingness to improve this much each and every day. And I think that that's an honest assessment of life. Life shouldn't be treated like a sprint. It shouldn't even be treated like a marathon. I mean, it's an endurance race. It's like David Goggins at 50 years old finishing up the Moab 240-mile race last week, running for like some 84 hours straight. That's unbelievable. But that physical challenge within a matter of a handful of days or so, right, is how most of us need to stretch. We need to stretch that 5 days out that he was able to exert that kind of endurance. And we need to stretch that out over the course of how many years you got. Which really means what? What's really being said there? That means you need to slow down. There's a beautiful mantra in the military. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Slow down. Something that simple could actually shift most of your life, especially if you're somebody that thinks that it's just going by so fast. And I think the reason why so many people think it goes by so fast, because you don't feel that you're getting anything done, that you're not being productive enough. But here's the problem, is I guarantee you, if you feel that way, there's probably a incredibly high chance that you don't write down daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, yearly goals. There's probably absolutely nothing written down for you to be aiming towards. And thus you're just kind of doing life by the seat of your pants. You're just kind of flying by. And there's a lot of people. I see you out there. I see you, man. Hustle, bustle, working hard, right? Again, nothing I'm saying is meant to shame you. It's literally just some truth bombs, some love, telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear, hey, you're doing great. Well, guess what? Maybe you're doing great. Maybe you're not. See, that's the thing. I don't really know. I don't know if you're doing good or if you're doing bad. Only you know this. But I started the show saying that someone that I really look up to, and I've heard this from probably 3 or 4 real major influencers that I look up to. I've heard 3 of them in some pretty extensive podcast reveal, with not even a lot of clarity, just the challenges that this year has been so challenging. I just heard another one yesterday. That's like 4 or 5. So I start saying, man, if these people that are really like the average person looks up to some of these people and says, wow, they got it all figured out. But if you listen to them enough, when you truly are listening, paying attention, you'll hear them actually reveal, hey, you know what? Things are really challenging right now. It's been one of the toughest years of my life. I used to be hustle and grind. I was listening to a guy the other day. I used to be hustle and grind, hustle and grind. Who needs a morning routine? And guess what now? Guess what he's considering? One health. All it took was, a little bit of a health issue to pop up. Oh man, you know what? I've been trying meditation. I've been trying some journaling. That morning routine ain't such a bad idea anymore. Maybe my quality of life could improve by doing some mindfulness, some groundedness, breathing, slowing down my day. Maybe it's not just about the hustle and grind. Maybe there's something else to it, to this experience, to this whole entire experience called life. Maybe there's just something else to it. Maybe it's not just about who wins on every day. I saw something last week. I think it was last week they commemorated that for the next 60 days, there's going to be football every single day. There's a football game, whether it's college or pro, every single day for the next 60 days. Yay. Let me do the math on that real quick. Let me do the math real fast. If you're a fan, right? Right, that's at least 4 hours a game times 60. That's 240 hours. That's 240 hours. That's a lot of time. That is a ton of time. I wonder what you could do with 240 hours of time with a hobby, with some kind of creativity that you could tap into, right? Even if it's trying something brand new that you've never tried before. I wonder what 240 hours of just trial and error and just checking things out. Thank you, my brother. I wonder what that would do. And again, it's all perspective. See, we get so caught up. And yet I think people have been so caught up. They've been caught up. You're caught up to your fucking eyeballs, right? And all the bullshit that's happening in this world, whether it's globally, domestically, politically, entertainingly, sportsly, all the shit, man. It's like, it's never ending. And all it wants to do is have you sit on your como se llama, right? And just check the fuck out, man. Because if you're actually on some kind of a mission, if you're actually willing to say, no more of that. And I'm not telling you to give it up forever, but I guarantee you, if you were to give it up for the rest, up until the rest of the year, or even for a complete year, do you even have an idea where you would be in 1 year from now? Chances are that if you started to put your energy and your focus, it's really about putting your focus towards something else, you wouldn't be the same person you are right now. And for some of you, that's scary because you have such deep emotional wounds and you have this lower self that's just this constant inner critic that tells you you're not good enough. No one's going to want to hear you. No one's going to want to see your talents, your gifts, your creativity. No one gives a shit about you. Right? And then you have to really ask yourself, where's that voice come from? Is that voice you? What is your truth? Who are you? Who are you? Right? Are you all your mistakes? Are you all the bad things that happened to you? Or is there something more? And I've been talking about this lately because I've had an incredible breakthrough in my own life with this very practice. And you'll hear it in some of the videos that I've been putting out recently because it's something that I have been putting into practice. And I can promise you anything I talk about here is something I've been through put into practice. I've tried, and it's either worked or it's tried and it's failed. And I tried something else. And then I'm going to talk about the things that have worked for me. Does that mean it'll work for you? Not necessarily. I say in all the videos for the 1% Better Everyday Journal, and for really any of the actual Results Kill Excuses Self-Mastery Academy content, which you can get if you type in those 3 magic words into your app store, Results Kill Excuses. Just type in those words. The app is free. There's some paid content on there. The 1% Better Everyday Journal is obviously something you can invest in, but there's 5 free courses for self-discovery that are free of charge. Literally 5 weeks of free, daily, high quality lessons. As long as you have a printer, you can print out the worksheets or you can order a workbook. But if you really want to start figuring yourself out and start shifting some of your focus from just, seeing the team, seeing the entertainers, seeing the actors, whatever it is, I get it. You've given up. Just be honest, you've given up. That's why you're not putting in the work. That's why for you, work is a 4-letter word, because it is something that you literally despise. And the statistics are out there. I think it's 87%. Some studies show that up to 87% of people hate their jobs. 87. Wow. That's probably you if you're listening to this. Man. Why is that? My guess is because you're not living your truth. Because you have this survival mindset. Right? And I can already hear you. If you got to realize I've been doing this for long enough. I've been working with a lot of people. I talk to so many people, thousands of people I've talked to. So I've heard all the excuses. Right? And guess what? I was full of those excuses until I finally hit the rock bottom. And I said, no more. No more excuses. It's time to get some shit done. It's time to turn my life around. It's time to transform who the fuck I am, figure myself out. I can't keep living like this. But here's something that's helped me. This has truly helped me to figure out my truth. Because what I know about the wounded version of myself, and there's still residual to this day, but I heal 1% better every day. But what I know about the wounded version of myself is that all the mistakes, all the flaws, all the failures, all the guilt, all the shame, all the mess ups, all the rejection, all the abandonment, all the victimization stuff, all the bad things that happened to me, I used to identify with all those things, whether I wanted to admit it or not. Usually I wouldn't. Usually I'd get really defensive. I'd get really confrontational. And so when someone would call me out on something, right, we'd be arguing, we'd be fighting, there'd be fallout. And when you mix a little alcohol, you mix a little weed, you mix all kinds of other shit, it's not good chemistry for healthy living. And yet, throughout my healing journey, which is really a spiritual awakening, and by spiritual awakening, healing, what I mean by healing is healing childhood emotional trauma. Make that very clear. I'm not healing from a breakup from last year. I'm not healing from, being cut off in traffic last week, or having a guy flip me the bird, 2 weeks ago, or someone cut me off. I'm not healing from that. I'm not healing from the little cut that I just had. I'm not healing from the medical procedure I just did. When I say healing journey, I'm talking about healing unhealed childhood trauma. Because I don't care what age you are, if you have not done this process, I promise you that trauma from your childhood is still showing up in your life today. Guaranteed. Prove me wrong. And better than proving me wrong would be to hear this message enough to maybe ask for some help. Get some professional help. Reach out to me if you're interested in some coaching. Greg at resultskillexcuses.com, GREG. You could DM me, message me, however you need to contact me. I'm not hard to find. That's what Coach Prime talks about. Not hard to find. So that's the healing journey. But yet, it's really a spiritual awakening. Simultaneously, congruently, right, overlapping in the same direction, perfect harmony and alignment is a spiritual awakening. Now, what do I mean by spiritual awakening? Well, a spiritual awakening, it comes in waves. It's not just, you don't just poof. See, a lot of people, even myself included, I tried the quick magic trick. Hey, say these words, go under the water, poof, you're born again. I'm like, cool, now what? And then I did all the things they said to do. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But it didn't change me. It didn't completely deliver me from the bad side of me. And I promise you that it won't deliver you from the shadow side. I said bad. It's not really about good or bad. It's about the shadow side of you, which is really just the survival. It's really just the wounded version of you, right? It's spiritual, so there is some dark energy involved in this. But by spiritual awakening, what I am talking about is when you begin to see beyond the physical reality and you start to see the spiritual realm. You start to see the synchronicities. You start to see the numbers. You start to pick up on things that maybe you just didn't realize before. There's something else going on, and you start to question, wait, what is happening here? And it comes in waves, a little bit and a little bit at a time. You start having this spiritual awakening where the veil, right? This veil starts to lift. And it's not even a veil. I think it's actually a smartphone. I think the smartphone is the veil. Anybody agree with that? That when the smartphone comes up, we see. It's like, okay, great. We can actually see beyond the distraction. And we start to see beyond the physical and even virtual, right? That's another thing that just downloaded right now. It's not just the physical world anymore. It's the digital world. The digital world is very, very intoxicating. The digital world. And even this is a part of it. I give myself permission to even do this because of people like you that are here right now. Your comments, talking about connecting, talking about this message is helping me, right? And it's activating you to start making some decisions about your life. And hopefully those decisions are for you to become the best version of yourself. See how far you can go. Start doing the life review now versus at the end of your life. And then you're like, damn it. I got to do this again. Fuck. Dang it. I was close. I was close to finally having a spiritual awakening where I can actually see everything that's really going on right now. What's really going on. And it's not about what's going on out here. See, that's the thing. It's about what's going on inside. What's going on in the depths. That is the most important place for you to invest as much focus and as much attention and as much energy as you possibly can as to what is going on inside of you, inside of your mind, inside of your body, inside of your soul. What is going on inside? What signals? What aches? What pains? What thoughts? What feelings? What worries? What sadness? What doubts? What guilts? What shames? What loves? What desires? What happiness? What joy? What exists inside of you? That is the most beautiful journey that any one of us could go on. The journey of going from a place of self-sabotage, patterns, and behaviors to being fully present with yourself, where you completely harmonize and activate the fullness of your humanity and the fullness of your eternity, the divinity within you, that you're an infinite soul having a human experience. That you can see the oneness, you can see the interconnectedness of all things, all beings, all people, all plants, all trees, all animals, the rocks, the mountains, the streams, the clouds, the skies, the stars, the heavens. You see that it's all connected. And guess what? It's all right here. It's all right there with you right now. It's the most beautiful, beautiful thing when you can fully free yourself from not only the physical. Actually, the physical reality is a beautiful place to plug into. The vice of this time is virtual reality, not even the physical. Most of us lack the vitamin physical reality, P, the vitamin P, the physical reality. Most of y'all aren't actually going out into nature. Nature. That is a healing force. It's a cleansing force. And there's something about when you immerse yourself into nature. Could be in the middle of a park, could be in the middle of a forest, could be on a beach, at a lake, in a river, in a desert even, right? It just needs to be more nature than there is material world stuff. Man, human built things. Nature. Yeah. I woke up this morning and I felt incredible. I felt so good. I still feel so good. And I find that every single day. I can find it with my eyes closed, when I soften my thoughts. But I can also find it in the midst of a storm, in the midst of a challenge, in the midst of something happening in my life that's going to require me to show up fully. Not wounded, not avoidant, not fearful, not timid, not scared, not hesitant, not doubtful, but just fully bold and embodied in my truest, most authentic self. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I know some of you are some really good students on this game called life, so I appreciate you being here because I can feel you. I feel you listening. You're like, when is he going to tell us the thing to do? Teacher, tell us the thing to do. I did this. I've done this many times, but I did it with some real serious intention the other day. And I'll tell you, I was in a park. I was concluding a 3-day fast. So I have to kind of preface this because it may not be as powerful for you if you just kind of sit there and do it right now. What's up, Jay? Welcome. Good evening, everybody. But again, I did this recently, finishing up a 72-hour fast, which was very powerful. It was this week. I just felt it. I felt the need. And I don't fast for the nutrition. I'm playing the spiritual game right now. This is a spiritual game. This game called life. It's spiritual. And where your focus goes, that's where you expand. So if you're focused on the game right now, I hope your team wins. I hope you feel satisfied. Yeah, I'm going to start talking a lot more about the fasting. I think right now is a time for fasting. If you've never fasted, I feel like I could break that down for you in just a second. Stick around. Stay tuned, and I'll break down for you my recommendation for fasting. I'll talk about it a lot because I don't know, this most recent 72-hour fast that I just released it yesterday afternoon. And man, the energy, I felt so clear. And I've done a lot of fasting. But something about right now, I felt it was powerful. It was so powerful that I really feel that I need to be in a spirit of fasting more frequently. And I haven't quite figured that out. But let me tell you what I really would love to share with you as something that you can put into practice. If you struggle with where does your identity lie, right? If you're feeling burdened right now, what's burdening you right now? Let's go there. Let's go there right now. What's something that's weighing heavy on your heart? What's something that's weighing heavy in your mind? What's a problem you have right now? Just think it to yourself. If you're a good student, you should probably write this stuff down, right? Right. That's my cup of jam here, right? That's why we do 1% better every day journal here. They say note takers are money makers. So if I was you, I would write notes. Get your pen, get your paper, because this exercise, it is something that you do, that you write down. And it's interesting that one of the courses on the app is called I've Got 99 Problems. We've all heard the song, right? I got 99 problems. But my reframe of that is I've got 99 problems and positive solutions for every one. And so this exercise is to really help you find some clarity regarding a situation in your life right now that you feel overwhelmed, that you feel defeated. Do you feel defeated in anything? Is there any area of your life where you feel like you are failing or you have failed miserably? It's a big problem. You're like, it's too hard to solve. You feel that you kind of have quit. You've quit on yourself. You've quit on the people around you, whether you acknowledge that or not, but you're throwing in the towel. You've done it. And even if you haven't fully done it energetically, if you're not trying to move some mountains, then guess what? Try this. At least try this for yourself so that you can have some clarity to be able to believe in yourself and believe that you are capable of getting through anything that you're facing right now. Here's what you do. You get a piece of paper and you write down your problem. You write down the thing that's got you overwhelmed. Maybe it's a financial problem. Maybe there's something you feel like you can't afford or you can't pay, or, you know, your car's broken down and you don't have the money to fix it, or just there's a financial thing. And that, I see that everywhere right now. Everywhere, man. We got government shut down, we got bills, we got checks not going out, people being fired, AI's taking over, who knows what's going on. So maybe it's financial, right? It's usually health, wealth, or relationship. Those are the big three for most people. So whatever problem you got, maybe it's a relationship problem, maybe it's a workplace problem, right? Maybe it's a health issue. Maybe it's a health issue. Maybe you actually have something going on with your health. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write out a paragraph describing your problem. Here's my problem. And just, I need you to write it down. I need you to get whatever's going on in your mind about whatever this situation is. I need you to just free write as much detail as you can that problem. And once you do that, what I need you to do next is I need you to write this down verbatim. I am not this, and then fill it out, whatever it is, this problem. I need you to explicitly write that I am not whatever it is. I'm not this relationship. I'm not this bill. I'm not my bank account. I'm not my job. Right? Whatever you described, I need you to now make a declaration to yourself that you are not it. That you are not it. The problem is it is present in your life, but here's what I'm trying to create a separation with. I need you to know that you are a infinite being. Whatever you're faced with right here now in the now will not be with you for eternity. I got my first DWI in 1998, September of 1998. And I can tell you in October of 2025, I am not that DWI. I am not it. Do you hear what I am saying when I say that? I am not that DWI. Here's what else I am not. I am not this live stream. I'm not this YouTube channel or this Facebook page. I am not this. This is an extension of me, but it's not who I am. Do you hear what I'm saying? Those of you that are here, do you hear what I am saying? This is massive power for those of you that are fully engaged in this experience called life. Because the more things that you can disconnect your identity from, I'm not this shirt I'm wearing, I'm not this jacket, I'm not this hairdo. I'm not even this body. You guys, listen, I am not this body. So I'm definitely not my mistakes. I'm not this phone. I'm not this cup of water. I'm not results kill excuses. But here's the thing. When we are still in a wounded emotional state of being, guess what? We absolutely identify with all of the things. We identify with all of our mistakes, with all of our failures. We think, all the setbacks, all the heartbreaks. We identify with that. We identify that we're our paycheck. You're not your paycheck. You are not your paycheck. You are not the money in your bank account. You're not your car. You're not your house. You're not your truck. You're not your boat. I promise you, you're not your political party. You are not it. I promise you, you're not your team. I promise you, you're not your favorite player. I promise you, you're not your favorite musician. I promise you, you are not your favorite influencer. I promise you, you're not your favorite color. You're not your favorite hobby. You are not it. So then, who are you? See, this is the thing. When we are trying to getting to our true and authentic self, the way that we do that is you have to be willing to look at your life in review and literally chalk up the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you're hearing this, maybe now is the time. Maybe now is the time for you to start investing time, energy, resources into figuring yourself out. Figuring out who you truly are. Who is your true and authentic self? Because here's the thing. The more that you attach emotionally to everything that you're not, which is everything, you are. You guys are ready. I don't know if you guys are ready for this. I don't know if you're ready for what's coming through, but I guess that's why it's coming through. Because like I said right here, I'm feeling like my new self. What do most people say? Feeling like my old self again. I don't want to be my old self. I don't ever want to be the old self. Because guess what? I am not my old self. I'm not even the new self. Thank you. Thank you to those of you that actually hear what I'm saying. This is medicine. This is medicine. So as I was saying, when you still have emotional attachment to things outside of your true and authentic self, just your naked self, when you have emotional attachments to those things, guess what also comes with that? Suffering. Suffering. We suffer when we are attached to things that are not who we truly are. And especially the suffering is magnified when we lose things that we are no longer, that are no longer aligned with us. It's all part of this spiritual journey. Because I know a lot of people out there, maybe you're one of them, you're suffering the fact that you're not 20 years old anymore, that you're not living that you peaked out in high school or you peaked out in your 20s, and you're suffering because the wheels of time have gone by. And you need to hear this, you chose to stay stuck and attached to something that is no longer. I remember just, it was like a few years ago, a friend of mine on one of the socials had posted a picture that brought up a memory of me and him back in like junior high. And so I sent him a team picture of us on the football team. I think it was wrestling and football. I think we both were wrestlers and we were football players. And, you know, he was a badass athlete. I was a badass athlete. And he was like, man, I'd give anything to be back there. And I know where he's coming from. I know where that energy comes from. Man, I'd give anything to be back there. We were fucking studs, weren't we? And for me, this was just a couple years ago, so I'm way down this path of healing and awakening. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't want nothing to do with that little motherfucker. That kid didn't know shit. And I'm talking about myself in the picture. I'm like, that kid, he thought he knew it all, but I promise you, that kid didn't know shit. And here's what's even better, is that kid couldn't hold a fucking match to me, the man that I am right now. Because the truth of it is, when I look in the eyes of that kid who is me all these years ago, teenager, you know what that kid wanted more than anything else? You want to know what that kid wanted, what that little boy wanted more than anything else, right? It wasn't to win a championship. It wasn't to be the best athlete, right? It wasn't, to date the prettiest girl in school. Although those were all great things that kid accomplished. But what he truly wanted was to have a man be there for him in his life. And so the beautiful thing about my journey is I created the man that I always needed in my life. This guy right here, the best version of me. And what's so cool about the best version is I get to be the best version each and every day. And so I don't look back and long for the yesteryear, right? That's grieving. That's not accepting reality. Reality is that's gone. It doesn't exist. The past is gone. It doesn't exist. It's only a memory. And if you're lucky, you got a picture. But it doesn't exist. It has nothing to do with now, other than if you are still carrying around attachment, longing, which equals suffering for the past, then you're stuck. You're stuck living life in reverse. You're wishing that things were the way they used to be. And that's why a lot of you could say, I wish I could be back to my old self, feeling like my old self again. I don't know who the old self was. Who's the old self? I don't want to be the old self. I want to be the new self. I want to be feeling like my next self, my next best self each and every day. Chew on that mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Chew on that. I want to be my next self each and every day. Are you ready to join me? I know some of you are here for that. Some of you have been on this journey. Because one thing I know is I'm not alone. Just like when I look upon this world and I see all people suffering, I see a commonality amongst humanity. People are suffering. What are we suffering from? Because of our attachments, because of our wounds, because of the trauma. Everybody's suffering to varying degrees. I don't care what kind of a mask you put on. I don't care what your title is. I don't care how special you think you are, how shiny you make your shit look. We're all suffering. Every single person. And we all question our mortality. We all question what happens when the lights go off. What really happens? And we're searching and we're seeking and we're wishing that just something would give us some kind of assurance that we're going to be okay, that something's going to be okay. But we get so focused on what happens after that we're not focused about right here, right now. Because guess what? Just like yesterday And last year and 20 years and 50 years ago, it's gone. It does not exist. And if you think a memory is reality, you are fooled. The past is gone. But here's what else is true. Tomorrow never comes. So if you're somebody that's been telling yourself all year, you know what, I'm gonna clean that up tomorrow. You know what, I'm gonna sign up for that thing tomorrow. You know what, I'm gonna go buy that journal tomorrow. You know what, tomorrow I'm gonna start. Tomorrow's gonna be the new me. Tomorrow. Guess what? Tomorrow never comes. Because when you go to bed tonight and you wake up in the morning, is it tomorrow? No, it's now. The only thing that exists is the eternal now. Tomorrow never comes. When you are there, if you're lucky enough, ain't nobody guaranteed that. Guess what? You don't call tomorrow. If you're there, you're not going to be saying, yay, it's tomorrow. I've never heard anybody say, yay, it's tomorrow. No. It'll be today and it'll be now. So now, when you can learn to master the present of now, that the decisions you make now, that shifting the way you feel now, that focusing on what you feel now, that, right? Shifting your negative thinking, your critical thinking into positive thinking by listening to positive affirmations, by writing down positive affirmations each and every single day, because the reprogram from the negativity that most average people carry around it's daunting, but it's a hell of a mission to go on, because sitting there idle, I talked about contagious. What's contagious? We're sitting around here right now. Right. And if you're someone that's been putting in the work, guess what? You need to be out there sharing. You need to be sharing the work you've been putting in. It's urgent. It's time. The time is now. You are qualified. If you are making improvements in your life, whether you have gotten sober recently, whether you started journaling recently, whether you started working out recently, like, it is now time to start using that shift in who you are to help inspire other people around you. But there's obviously a few ways to do it. I appreciate all your thoughts tonight, Jay. Yeah, the positive thinking, it's not only real, man. It's just like, it's a daily battle. It's a daily battle, man. If on October 17th, if I'm given the opportunity to wake up and do life again, if I choose to just abandon my morning routine, my mindfulness practices, which include positive affirmations, journaling, starting my day with thoughts of gratitude, right? Capturing gratitude, cultivating gratitude, cultivating positivity, setting intentions, setting some daily goals, setting some things that I want to achieve for that day, for that week. If I just abandon all that, I'm not going to be Mr. Positive by next week. I can guarantee it. It's a choice. It's a choice. And that's what you have right now. Those of you listening, those of you that have tuned in here, thank you for being here. I hope that this message brings you value, but it's every day you have a choice. And as I said earlier, for people that really want to be in a better place next year, next week, next month than they are right now, you have a choice. But your choice can't just be thinking, it has to include action. You need to take action, daily action. You need to have something you're aiming towards, and hopefully you're aiming high, not in the dirt. It's hard to miss the dirt. That's a positive way to do it. No more bad mouthing. I think a lot of us, myself included, right? As I wrote down some problems that I'm navigating through right now in my life, and I started writing, I am not this problem. I'm not that problem. I'm not these things. Man, it was like a weight lifted off me. But I'll tell you, I was also completing a 3-day fast, and I had my shoes and socks off. I was in an open space. It was a beautiful park, some old mature trees. I had touched one of the trees a little bit before that, and I was just really present with myself. And I felt this power take over me of like regaining my true and authentic identity, knowing that I was still carrying things around, that there's still some residual. And I know that it's so interesting that when we go to spirit, when great spirit, when we connect with the divine and we start really seeking things, you want abundance, you want freedom. What do you want? What are you seeking in this life? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid to accomplish? It's like when you ask for those things, you get tested. You get taken to the depths, because the reason why it doesn't just get handed to you, oh, you want abundance? Here you go. Here you go. It's yours. Done. Like a genie. No, when you ask for abundance, it takes you to the depths of your scarcity, right? You get taken through the tests and the trials and the tribulations of what it is to be scarce, so that in the scarcity, guess what? You're embodying abundance, that you are no longer identified. Ooh, there it is. That's the cut. That is where the spirit, right? That is where the spirit cuts you free from the identity, from the false. It's a false identity, and it's generational, it's emotional, and it's usually rooted in the programming from this life and many lives. But if you desire abundance, if you desire freedom, it puts you in situations where you feel controlled, where you feel you have to be in those controlling situations, maybe even a moment of captivity. And in that, you need to be able to embody freedom. In a place, in a time of scarcity, you need to embody abundance. Like literally be it, feel it, to where you're looking all around and you're like, man, it's all good. I feel great. I feel wonderful. That is the major, that is how the tests show up. That's the true measure of self-mastery and growth. And the cool thing about it is when you fully are starting to go through the spiritual awakening. What do I call the spiritual awakening? I'll repeat myself for those of you in the back of the class. The spiritual awakening, it comes in waves. However, it's when you start to see beyond the virtual reality and the physical reality, and you start to see in the invisible world, the invisible realm, the unseen. The unseen for those that are still got the veil over their eyes. Easily distracted. Those of you that are easily distracted. It's hard to see in the spiritual realm. It's very easy to be led away, to be distracted by the next shiny thing, by the thing that I love it. Like when the big games or the big fights or the big events come up, the big spectator events that it's like global. Everybody's got to see it, and it's like I can't miss it. I can't miss it. I have to see it. Everybody's gonna be there. I have to see it too. It's like I have to see it. One of the most beautiful things that or let me reframe that. All of the most beautiful things I've ever seen have been in nature or under the darkest night skies. The most beautiful things I've ever seen. Never has the most incredible thing I've ever seen been on a screen, on a TV. I've seen some cool things. I've seen some exciting things there, but never the best. Not even close. Not even close. Nothing can compare to some of the incredible waterfalls, the cascading waterfalls, this crystal clear turquoise water just roaring over a cliff, cascading down, and just being present in that energy. Seeing the stillness of a lake first thing in the morning as the sun rises and the sky just lights up, man, just like a fire. The most incredible colors ever. And it's just being reflected, and there's just mountains piercing the sky. Nothing on a screen has ever compared to that. Nothing ever. Right? Watching a thunderstorm from my bed is I have this huge panoramic window, and just watching these thunderstorms and lightning just pass by. Right? Nothing on a screen has ever compared to that. Being under the darkest of night skies in the most quiet, tranquil forests. Zero light pollution, where you can just see the Milky Way in all its glory. Nothing on a screen compares to that. Those are true experiences. Those are spiritual experiences that transform you. Again, it's not just when you experience something like that by immersion, by being immersed in it, it transforms you. It changes you. Yeah. But I've also been somebody that's immersed myself in the most devastating, destructive, situations on this planet. Some of the most destructive environments on this planet. I've also been in the midst of that. And that changes you too. Because if you've never had to witness that level of chaos, destruction, whether it's natural or man-made, if you've never been fully immersed in that, then I can guarantee you take a lot that you have right here, right now, for granted. You take a lot for granted. You're taking that cozy couch, that cozy chair, that cold brewski, that big screen TV. You're taking it all for granted. Because I know people that are sitting there doing that same thing right now, that in an instant they say they get a call, say, hey, mandatory evacuation, you have 10 minutes to leave. And it's like, what do you do? Oh shit, I'm in the middle of the game. Oh damn, I just cracked open a brand new brewski. And it's like, next thing you know, you're running outside, you turn around and everything you own is destroyed, gone, bye-bye. What do you do now? I'm telling you, taking it for granted. We take it for granted, don't we? We take it all for granted. And the one thing, the reason why I know I'm here right now, I know why I'm sent for a time such as this, is because I think inherently we would never take it for granted, but we've been programmed. We're being deceived. And at some point on the road, we start to surrender. We give up, and we bend the knee and basically say, okay, master, yes, I will sit here on my ass and watch this endlessly and just allow myself to just check the fuck out from this thing called life, which life is something that we are absolutely required with a choice. But you made the choice. You made the choice to do life before you came to this planet. Before you were born, your spirit, your soul chose to do life, to become the best version of yourself. You said before you were born, you said in the spiritual realm, your soul chose. Yes, your soul chose. Before you were born, you were so confident. You were like, I'm going to figure it out this time. I can do this. I can do this. I'm going to win. I'm going to have my awakening, and I am going to overcome all of these things that are meant to destroy me, meant to just cause me to check out and to lose, to forget who I truly am. Back to the truth. Again, who are you? I had asked that question. I asked that question deep. 5 years ago. I'm going on 5 years since I got the big D, right? And that was having a 21-year marriage expire. And one of the first things I remember, I'd already been on this spiritual awakening, healing journey. I'd already been on this. I was already doing the sobriety thing. But it was like I needed even another dose of crisis, another falling out, something else that I was putting all my identity into. I needed that to fall away as well. So, oh shit, who am I now? Wait, I don't have that anymore? Oh shit, what do I do? Who's going to love me? Who's going to care about me? And it's like, anybody ever been there? Who's going to love me? All pity partied out. I'm 40. Who's going to love me now? Wah. And guess what I had to learn in the past 5 years? No one's going to love me more than I love myself. Did you hear what I just said? Listen really deep. Thank you for being here. Listen. No one's going to love you more than you love yourself. Do you love yourself? How much do you love yourself? Does your life reflect someone so in love with you? Does your life reflect it? Don't make the excuses. If you got the excuses, guess what? I know I just shined a little light in an insecure area because we want to hide behind the love. Oh, I love myself. It's like, no, you don't. Be honest. Be honest. I know that even after 9 years of sobriety, I still hated myself. Because guess what? I was still identifying myself as the drunk motherfucker. I was still identifying myself as the guy with the DWIs and the domestic arrest and all the failures and the failed businesses and the foreclosed homes and all the mistakes of my past. I was still identifying. Thus, even though I was sober, even though I was seeking and I was moving in a positive direction, I at least know that I was moving in a positive direction, trying to figure some shit out. This past 5 years, ever since that pandemic, because I literally got divorced a few months later, the pandemic happened, and it's like, wow, major shifts. This past 5 years has been the most incredible shift, transformation. Like, what's beautiful, what's so beautiful is as good as that guy thought he had it back then, right? That guy is grateful that he had to lay himself down for this man to emerge. And I promise you'll have to do the same. And I promise you that the version of who you are now will happily lay itself down for you to make a willful, soulful choice to say, I want to absolutely become and embody the next best version of myself. When you start walking every single day with that attitude, 1% better every day, who's going to stop you? Who's going to stop you? Yeah, that self-respect's important, bro. You're the only person that is stopping yourself. You're stopping yourself from eating healthy. You're stopping yourself from being more active. You're stopping yourself from building your dreams. Being fully alive. Embodying the best version of who you are meant to be on this planet. And the sad thing is that we're all interconnected. And so just like the group think, right? Just like if you've watched this whole video, and if you haven't, a recap is I talked about a story earlier where there was a group of me and a bunch of veterans. And before we had this spark, it was like we were all practicing bad behaviors. A lot of people were drinking. A lot of people were smokers and big gamers and just kind of lazy. What nobody was doing mostly was working out, exercising, making a difference in our community. And it was like once that idea shifted in us where we had a goal, we had a mission, we had a vision, we said, hey, let's train for this thing. Let's take on this big challenge. And let's all put in and start training for this. It was like there was an instant shift. And so in your own life, if you find yourself in a spiral of the same old bullshit, it's like a dang broken record. It's not a broken record. It's a downward spiral. If you're still doing the same old shit with the same old people, and you're just getting to a point where you're like, is this really all my life is about? Is this really all my life is about? The answer is no. Unless you choose for that to be all your life's about. If that's what you want all your life to be about, right? Having fun, partying, revelry, thinking that the virtual world is the most important part of this existence, then so be it, right? But this message is for those of you that are at that place, that soul searching, the veil, right? You're starting to see past the virtual reality and the physical reality. There's something else is going on here. I don't know why, but this guy's making sense. I don't know why, but I feel like I need it. I feel like there's more I can be doing with my life. And one of the saddest, one of the tough things that anybody that's been on this healing journey, this spiritual awakening, if you ever hear anybody beyond myself, is again, if we talk about identity, if I rewind the tape back 15 years ago when I was still drinking, partying, happy hour, after hour, clubbing on the weekends, concerts, getting drunk, getting high. If I went back to that 15 years ago, guess what? I was the common denominator of a group of people. But you also got to realize that, we were all choosing to do that. Like hanging out, go everywhere we went, especially once we were, it didn't even need for me. I didn't even have to be over the age of 21 to anywhere I went to be a party, anywhere I went to be a place to drink. Like ever since I was a teenager, that's how I behaved. But I had to hit my rock bottom. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I have very little in common with who I used to be 15 years ago. And thus, if the people that I used to do all those things with are still doing all those things, guess what that means? I have very little in common with them. So what I'm trying to communicate is the chances of me wanting to still hang out with the people that are doing the same things that I used to do 15 years ago when I don't do those things anymore, it's oil and water. It don't make sense. And I got nothing but love for anybody I've ever fucking taken shots with, pounded a beer with, gotten crazy and drunk with. I mean, I got mad respect for all of those, all of you. If you're out there, if you're hearing this message, I got love for you. But and I know probably deep down, there's probably very little in common. And that's why we go our separate ways. But yet, the point I'm trying to make is some of you will never choose you and your true self, because here's what the problem is. You still identify yourself with that group. Remember we talked about identity? Write down your problem and say, I am not whatever it is. Well, guess what? You're not your social group. You're not your team. You're not your politics. I could go on and on about what you're not. But I guarantee you, there are some things that you still identify with. And those things are holding you back. Some of you think you're your fear. You're your doubt. You're your guilt. You're your shame. You're your mistakes. You're defined by it. And I talk about it here all the time. So how do you overcome these things? It's not just writing it down and saying, I'm not this anymore. No, it's realizing. Can you be honest with yourself? To even chalk up, what are the things that you're ashamed of? What are the things that you have some guilt about? What are the things that you're sad about? What are the things you're mad about? What are the things that have caused you pain? This is the life review. This is where you start to see the patterns in your life. This is how you heal. And so the way that you start to separate your identity from these things is allowing yourself to sit in the fire of your life, of your story. And when you sit in the fire, and that's obviously an analogy, We're not going to put you in a real fire. Some of you can be so logical. Is he saying to put me in a real fire? No. It's just a metaphor for, the things that cause you pain. When you write about the things that have hurt you, a lot of us, we don't want to do this. I think we all would. I know everyone would benefit from it. Everyone would benefit from this. I wish we would do this from throughout the school life, right? That it was just a commonality for people to be reflecting every year, all the time, because then you would be real time purging the pain, and you wouldn't be suppressing for decades and decades and decades, and then wondering what in the fuck has happened to my life. But once you do get to a spiritual awakening, when you start to see that something's going on, something's happening, I know we want to just go run to a building and say a thing and, go in some water, and next thing you know, you're brand new. Yay. Now what? Did any of the subconscious programs change? Did any of your negative thinkings change? Have you done any of the refinement of your identity? To refine, right? To refine is to turn on that heat, to sit in your feelings, to experience your feelings, to name your feelings. This is self-mastery. This is self-awareness. When you start to really sit with yourself, get to know yourself. Because here's how you improve relationships with others. If relationships are the thing that you're having a problem with right now, here's how you improve the relationship with others. Start by improving the relationship you have with yourself. I just said the same thing in a different way a few moments ago. No one can love you more than you love yourself. But yet, if we deceive ourselves by thinking we love ourselves, but if I see you, and I'm somebody that has gifts, that if I can see you before you walk in the door. I mean, if I see you, I'm like, okay, I know what this person's kind of carrying around, what they're dealing with. I don't judge you on that. It's just a gift that I can see people, and I say, okay, I can have knowledge about what you're carrying around, your energy, because it's just energy. We think we're hiding. We think we put on the act, but you can see it in the eyes. You can see it under the eyes. You can see it in the face. You can see it in the countenance, the way you walk, the way you talk, how you're dressed, how you carry yourself, your physical condition. Everything that you embody right now is your calling card. It tells everybody everything about you, whether you want that to be your reality or not. The truth. I know we want to blame it. I have this problem and that health. It's like, that's just more of the reason why, right? It's just more evidence as to why you're in the condition you're at, because your mindset is stuck. You're stuck. You're broken. And only you can fix you. I'm going to say that again. Only you can fix you. I can't fix you. I can guide you. I can help you. I can give you messages like this. I can put out resources like this, the 1% Better Everyday Journal. If you're interested, you should take a look, resultskillexcuses.com, or click on the link down below. But most of us, right, we're looking for a quick fix. If you're overweight, right, you'll kind of, right now we're getting in. I'm wearing a hoodie. It's starting to get cooler over here, so I'm wearing my hoodie. That means bulkier clothes, so we can hide all the extra pounds that we usually store for the winter. And then spring comes, it'll be here soon enough. And then we try and find the crash diet, the quick fix. How do I drop the pound so I can feel a little bit better about myself? But the problem is we're only trying to address the external, and we're not fixing the internal. You need to fix the internal. The mission, the journey starts inside. And I say this time and time again. It starts with your mental health. And it starts with mental clarity. And that's why sobriety is absolutely a non-negotiable. Sobriety is non-negotiable. If you don't even want to hear about sobriety, you don't want to think about sobriety, you think you can be your best self, and you're still entitled to a glass of wine, or you're still able to, smoke a joint, or whatever it is, whatever's your thing, like, man, go do it. Go have fun. Right. But over here, and through my experience, the beautiful thing is, you say you love yourself. If you love yourself, why would you poison yourself? Why would you poison yourself? And the sad thing is the number one poison that most of us ingest each and every day. Anybody guesses? Any guesses here? Any guesses? What's the number one source of poison that the majority of humans ingest every single day? It's in the food. It's in the food we eat. The food we eat is so packed with fucking chemicals. The processed food, that is where most of the disease is right now. But alcohol is a carcinogenic. It is absolutely a poison. That is why we get buzzed and drunk. It's because you're literally poisoning yourself. Humans, we're so sneaky that somehow we can justify poisoning ourselves and say we're having the time of our lives. Well, sugar's food, right? Sugar's a chemical. Sugar's addictive. Sugar's very, very, very toxic to the body. Right? It's hard. Like, you got to really be label surfing your food to try and reduce. Please reduce the sugars, reduce the oil. The oil gets so controversial. People think there's healthy oil versus unhealthy oil. And it's like, no, it's just healthier, but it's all on a scale of unhealthy. The scale for all oils is unhealthy, right? Unless there's one area, is if you get it from animal proteins as a derivative of animal proteins, right? And the oils come in that way, or the oils come through whole foods, right? That's one thing. But processed oils, right? You might as well just be putting Valvoline in your spaghetti. But the nutritional talk is for a whole nother day. That's a subject we could go on. But it is where most people are poisoning themselves. So if we're willing to, and the problem is because people are so checked out. We're so checked out. You've given up. You've topped out. Get the fuck up. It's the most beautiful thing. If you've been flat down on your face, given up on life, pity party, woe is me, fuck, can't catch a break. It's like, yes, you can. You can catch a break. You can fix your shit. I fixed my shit. I'm still fixing my shit. And I have joy doing it each and every day. Because even though I'm at a place where the challenges are way more complex, way more challenging, guess what? I've gotten stronger. I've gotten better. And I have to keep reminding myself of that. And you're going to have to keep reminding yourself along this journey. Don't forget. Keep your receipts. Know that, fuck, you have gone through some fucking battles and you have shown up for yourself. If you're showing up for yourself. If you're not, if you start and then you start keeping records, you have something to fall back on and say, fuck, I'm proud of myself. I changed up. I switched up my life. Most people, it takes a crisis. The sad thing about the crisis fix is all it takes is things getting a little bit better. And guess what? Most people revert back to how they were, feeling like my old self again. And then guess what? It's a broken record. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. Swing shift right back. Instead of making decisions that change who you are once and for all, each and every day. Always next best self, next best self. But if you're just looking for a quick fix, if you just need something to be fixed temporarily so you can just feel a little bit better, you can breathe a little bit, like, I get it. That's cool. That's survival mode. The chances are, though, if you solve something externally, but you never solve what created it internally, it'll happen again and again and again, different ways, but it'll keep happening and it'll keep happening and it'll keep happening until you finally start solving the real issues, which are within. Nothing's without, everything's within. So turn within. Now is the time. Thank you to everyone that's joined me for this live stream. I know those of you that are faithful, locked in on your own journeys, and definitely supporting the Results Kill Excuses channel. My heart goes out to you. I appreciate every bit of your energy and your support here. I'm definitely back. I feel great. I'm feeling amazing. I have an incredible sense of clarity right now, but I know that everything I've been through in the last 6 months was transformational, and it's going to show up. And I'm excited to be able to share the message, to share my energy, to share my wisdom, my experiences with you from this point forward. So I just appreciate every one of you. Love you guys so much. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I think I'm going to post, something was coming up for me to maybe, I don't know how many people will participate in these things. But I definitely want to create a schedule. So if you have some input on when I should be on here, what's a good time? It looks like there was a pretty good amount of viewers tonight. I'm feeling like the 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time is a pretty good time for me. And I know that I want to try and make it 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week for the live streams. I'm going to keep doing the long format and the short format, and clearly looking for other opportunities to huddle up, connect with many of you. If you're interested in any one-on-one coaching, reach out, greg@resultskillexcuses.com, or go to the resultskillexcuses.com website. Check out the shop, get yourself some gear, support the channels, support the brand. It means the world to me for you to be here, but even more so when you start really supporting and believing in yourself enough that you can pick yourself up something like this, or you can pick yourself up something like this, knowing that you're all in. You're all in. You're ready to change from here on out. Always striving each and every day to become what? Your next best self. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.